Hey everybody, TBC here. We are now only a few days away from the launch of Teek, so it's time to dive into part 2 of my ultimate camps for the Teek server, and today we're looking at the Kunark zones. So let's take it away. But before we start, just want to give a shout out to who really collated a lot of this information the first time around for Mischief, and that was Bobby Big. A link to his spreadsheet is down below, which is an invaluable resource if you are planning to play on Teek. Now, the first camp that we are going to look at is down in Sebelis, and it's the camp down here in the crypt, which is a camp that you will need a lot picker to get to. That won't change. This camp on a regular TLP is generally permanently camped for one reason, and that is for this NPC. So quite often you would find like a whole box army just kind of sat here, magicians and whatnot, competing for the mob. But on Teek server, what we are going to be interested in is looking at the density of the bosses. And right here you can see you've got 4 in each of the rooms, and the caretaker who paths around as well, and you can kill down towards a shuttle and emperor as well. So you have the potential for 5, 6, 7 mobs right here. Fantastic. Well, let's have a look at some of the items that you can get while in this camp. Now, normally when you come down to this camp, you're looking at guys like Baron Yosig, who drops a journeyman walking stick. He's clearly holding it right here. And the boxes that camp Hierophant will leave this guy alone usually, and they won't bother him because his loot's not the best. But like I said, on Teek, any of these NPCs can drop from a really wide loot pool, and you're gonna see stuff like the Cobalt Gauntlets, which are class armor that drops. So the Cobalt, the Singing Steel, the Tolan's Dartwood, you name it, that list goes on, and you can get it from any of these mobs. So no longer do you have to go to that one specific place in Karnal's Castle to get these gauntlets, for example. They can drop anywhere, and that makes it really fun. You never know what you are going to get. Of course, some other items that you're going to be looking for is the CGS, the Clay Guardian Shield. Normally that drops by Brog down in the Disco camp. Well, great. Again, we can get it here. A nice shield. Lots of AC, lots of HP. For Kunark. Jade Inlet Spoilers, another item that you're going to be looking to get. All plenty of mana, bit of Storm, Intelligence, Casters, perfect for them. And of course, the number one chase item I think for this group is the Hierophant's Cloak, which is the best pre-raid cloak you will be able to get on Teek to start with. It's fantastic. Everyone will be chasing this. High HP, loads of stats on it as well. It's a fantastic cloak to get, and this is the reason why people used to camp down here permanently, is to get this cloak to sell, because it wasn't no trade. Well, that doesn't matter for Teek because everything's no trade, but again, fantastic cloak. This is one you're going to be wanting to get before you get your raid loot. I'm also going to say this for Sebelis. Now, normally when you come to Disco, you are coming here for XP, and to be honest, the XP rate in Sebelis isn't ideal. You don't typically come to Sebelis really to level unless you're power leveling and you've got huge pulls. But for Teek, I do have to point out, this zone is going to be fantastic, because you look at the 3 main camps. Like I already pointed out the crypt, but even at Disco, you have got really dense NPCs, dense named, and that's what we're looking for to get loot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all pullable from Disco 1, and that's where you want to be setting up, usually right here, and you can keep all that kind of locked down. So much the better. But also if you come over here as well, the ABC or Chef Camp as it's known, you're going to have a good time as well. And this is one of my favorite camps to come to, just to level boxes. If I want to be chill and I want everyone to be safe, and if I'm a bit in and out, this camp right here is perfect. Nothing will aggro you here. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 named mobs, all within a very tight area. You're going to get tons of loot. Yeah, Sebelis, really good zone for Teek. Of course, Chardok had to make this list. You will be coming to this zone Realistically, it's the only place that you can level quickly on a TLP server between levels 50 and 60. It's the best zone XP wise, and it's also going to be a fantastic loot zone as well. If you look at this camp, for example, down here, again, just this one room alone, you've got 4. And then you've got the bridge keeper and the watch captain just outside. Watch captain is in the previous loot pool, but these guys are in their own. And this room, if you can clear it, and it's not the easiest room to clear, maybe you'll have to use pacify, maybe you'll have to split some mobs out here if you've got a monk, but this zone is going to be really good as well. So this loot pool is one of the most interesting and some of the best items you'll get early on Teek. And it's some simple things like this earring, the pearly sarnat bangle, a nice earring, bit of AC, tons of stamina, nice little pickup. 2 chase items. You would normally have to go to that really terrible camp. Absolutely no reason to go to it now on Teek. And that's the Mushroom Man camp, the King camp in Sebelis. Don't go there. Terrible camp, terrible XP. The mobs complete heal, and there's only one named. Why would you go there? Don't. Instead, come here. You'll probably get 3 or 4 of these things potentially as well. Huge chase items early on. The staff stays relevant for a little while, and so does the tunic as well. Great pickups to get for your monk. The big chase item though is of course a spirit rat cord. Now normally to get this, really long quest line to go through, one of the previously the most contentious quests out there, one of the most contested, long respawns, having to spawn pick zones, takes a long time, but it does have a chance to drop from the Grand Librarian right here in Chardok. So you do have a chance to get this, one of the best pickups you can get in Kunark early on. Now everybody knows Kennels is the best camp in Chardok for the fastest XP. Respawn rate is really quick down here, tons of mob density. This is the fastest place to level, levels 55 to 60 and down, but it's not very dense name wise. Yeah, you've got the 2 and maybe you got a shot at the underboss. What I much prefer to camp if you are interested in loot on a random loot server such as Teek is just over here in the herbalist camp, because you have, looking at it, the Grand Herbalist who spawns inside, that guy right there, and you've got the 2 that can spawn out here, the Wizened and the Acolyte, which spawn here and here. Not only that, you've got Overseer, and you've got Underboss, and depending how good your group is and how quick you're killing, you've got Foreman and a Trustee. But again, that's an awful lot of mobs. I don't think you'll probably get to them all, and there's old Niblik for his gems, but it's a good camp nonetheless. And again, same kind of loot pool that I showed earlier, as well as the class armor drops. Another zone that I like to come to is right here in Howling Stones. Now on a regular TLP this can be a bit of a pain to get the key, a little bit easier on Teek. The Zalgosian Fang, which normally drops from Zalgos, Dead and Kazara, will be a little bit easier because it is part of the random loot table. Fortunately, the other part, the Jade Chokodai Prod, is not, so you will still have to go and fight for those spawns from the people trying to sell it over in the Lake of Ill Omen. The reason why I like to come to this zone is, again, you've got, like say in this spot, a lot of names in a relatively small area, and the beauty of this zone is you kind of can clear all the way through it, and whether you're doing it in a DZ or not, you can clear through and you will see lots of name because they can typically spawn in multiple locations around the zone, so you'll generally always find something up. Well, let's have a look at some of the loot that is in this loot pool. Ixar Hide Mask, easy one to sell to any bag or rogue because of the illusion on it. Ixar, always fun, nice to have a clicky, and it's kind of a fun illusion too. Other pickups like the Ornate Rune Shield, I think this is a fairly standard pickup for any caster early on. A nice little shield, AC, int, and a bit of mana on it. Now, of course, there is the class gear like the Donald's Vambraces of Morning with the clicky Valor, which again nice because it saves you mana, although the cast time kind of sucks. And there's other stuff here that of course drops in Howling Stones like the Adamantine Club. So that's Howling Stones. But the next one, a bit of an unusual one, but I'm actually here down in K Zora, and it's not a big zone, and there are a lot of NPCs that are slightly higher level over by where the VP orb is, so you will definitely be coming here if you do intend to raid. And you don't have to go all the way to Zalgos, because if you look, some of these NPCs around the entrance, like the Frenzy Strathbone, the Rune Lord and the Reaver, are on a different loot pool. So yes, they can drop the Zalgosian Fang, fantastic, don't have to go all the way to Zalgos. You may end up getting some rubbish, like the Crypt Robber's Knife. Who really wants that? But the item I come here for, and it is a chase item, the big one, it's one of the biggest in Kunark, is the Circlet of Shadow before it gets nerfed. This thing is OP for Necromancers and Shadow Knights, more so Necromancers. I've had one of these before on another server, had a lot of fun with it because you can be FD and stand up instantly and not get aggro. Stand up, hit this straight away, you won't get aggro in that 0.1 second of casting time. It is fantastic and almost a requirement for any Necromancer. And guess what? Normally on a TOP, this mob is permacamped by a million magicians. All boxed, all automated, all that kind of stuff. But here it is going to be random loot, so you can get this from the pool. And just so happens, mobs like the Frenzy Strathbone here, just by the entrance in K Zora, have a chance to drop it. It's not high level, and that's fantastic. Definitely if you're playing a Shadow Knight or Necromancer, you should get one of these. And if not, if you get one and you're lucky enough to get one, you can probably sell it for a chrono or two, perhaps. One place we never go is the City of Mist. This place sucks, don't come here. No, really, it's terrible, don't come here. So there you have it, that's my video for a couple of spots in Kunark that you can take advantage of to get some loot early on. Let me know down in the comments below if you think of any more, or if this is useful to you. Also, I just want to give a huge shout out to our channel members. Thank you so much for your continued support. It is very, very much appreciated and helps me continue to grow the channel and keep making videos about this game. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and the subscribe button right next to it will let you know the next time I make a video. Obviously, Teek is now coming up, lots more content to come. I'm the Kunark, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.